You can, if you have like a resort style backyard, there's a company that you go through some process and you can rent it out for the day.
No, they need a cut of my funds. I'm not doing that.
Not that I'd recommend it, but yeah, no, it's actually a thing.
Wow.
I know, go figure.
I mean, I'm Lemon Grove. I don't know if that's exactly resort style living, but
Sure it is.
It's about like, I think our whole property is just barely under an acre, so that it's spacious. So
It's a pool. That's
it's a pool, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's start off with a couple shares and then just get into a conversation from now until 3:30. Ed, do you want to share your experience today and a local superhero, and then Brandon, your field trip today and some ideas? Would love to hear about that and then hear from anybody else.
Definitely. Yeah, happy to share. Today we were invited to Cal Biotech, which is a local biotechnology firm that was started by a local superhero by many accounts, Dr. Nori Barca, who started this biotech firm more than 20 years ago, a very brave entrepreneur. And today we were able to meet with him and his staff and get to learn about the work that he's doing to help fight the coronavirus right here in our own backyard, right here in El Cajon. So an amazing staff, about 45 employees from all over the world, from Africa, Brazil, from the Middle East, and just this beautiful diversity. So we were able to take kids through the R&D lab, everything from the design of the product, what they'll use to actually test for coronavirus, all the way to packaging. And so really they're providing millions upon millions of sample kits for people to be tested for the coronavirus. I think their first customer was in Italy, and that's where a lot of the research took place early on. But it was a fascinating tour. There were more than 6 of his main staff, directors, men and women who participated. And at the end, we all got together and they fielded questions from students that students had sent in on the Zoom chat. And Dr. Barca was so proud of his staff. And it was really a great opportunity to bring students into his work environment live and to see scientists from all over the world speaking about their work. So it was a big highlight of the day, and we hope to do many more of those.
I think you're muted there, David.
Thank you. We learned that Brandon, who's our local rock star, got to return to a prior venue where he rocked the house and had some sentimental moments. You want to share?
Well, let's not get too carried away with any of that, but we went and toured the Magnolia Theater over on Main Street, which was previously the El Cajon Performing Arts Center, or ECPAC as a lot of people called it. And we were there just looking at extra space that we can try and hopefully use to use for just, I don't know if displaced is the right word, but new classroom overflow going forward. They've got a pretty sizable lobby and an even bigger stage. And we're just trying to think about creative ways to move students around, and it looks to be a promising place. They've got a lot of space and some cool breakout rooms, and who knows what that could look like in a classroom setting.
Thank you, Brandon. Mark, Michelle, and Maritza, you have updates for the group? Important information?
Well, we're negotiating tomorrow, and we're going to try to figure out, hopefully, the special board meeting, they'll pass the plan that your input in these meetings, teachers' inputs, parents, that has been going on for quite a while. We spent all weekend trying to hammer out a good plan. We got the guidelines from the state, how to open up the school. It's a 65-page document, and our plan that needs to be voted on is going to be beneficial for all stakeholders and parents in giving everybody a flexible schedule and what they need. So hopefully that will get passed tomorrow at the special board meeting. So that's all we have right now. We'll figure out what we're going to do in negotiations as far as summer and that kind of stuff tomorrow.
Thank you. Maritza, Michelle, there'll be surveys coming out soon, or?
Sorry, Maritza's audio is not working. She was trying to talk to you. Hold
Oh,
on, here she
okay.
comes.
I'm right here.
Hi.
Yeah, so hi. Pending all of the outcomes of negotiations and that information, we are working right now on a classified survey to inquire with our classified about their availability for summer work and what summer work may look like with that plan that was given to all employees yesterday. We're definitely going to need classified support in classrooms and during those hours in which we'll be offering childcare or the summer enrichment program. So we're currently working on that right now.
Literally right now.
Literally.
Yeah, we really need the board to
Yes.
approve the plan so we can move forward. But what we want to do is we're receiving stimulus money from the federal government to catch up kids who weren't able to come to school. The other thing is looking at August as our start of school, we have an opportunity, and Mark and several of our colleagues planned to use summer as a kind of soft opening for the fall. So if you've ever been in the restaurant industry, they call it a dry run, where they open the restaurant to just friends and family, and it's not something where they charge, but just to practice with real people as customers. And so we know that we're going to use our transportation department, and that pickup and drop off are going to be different. So why not practice during the summer during a summer enrichment program? We know that we're going to need to serve meals at our sites and also provide pickup for those kids who are not coming to school to be in person. That's going to be something we haven't done before. So why not practice during the summertime? And then also, as we provide recreation and extended day at all of our sites, well, we'll need to have some office procedures and safety plans for how we run the office. So that means there's going to be lots of opportunities for those that are available and interested to earn summer income and also contribute to helping get ready for the next school year. And without lots of opportunities for family vacation outside of the immediate local area, it might be a good year to be able to just do some work and save some money. So those are things that we're thinking about. I capture that, Mark, Michelle?
Yeah, actually, and we're looking at ways that we can, again, pending negotiations with CSEA tomorrow on making it flexible for people too. So you've got some options on what you could be committing to. So it's some fun this summer and not all work.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. How about, I was wondering if you guys have all heard about the new principal announcements.
Uh-oh, drop the bomb. There's a lot of change.
There's a lot of change. A lot of the staffs made the recommendations this morning, but I'm happy to share those with you if you guys that would like the in before I send that world email that congratulates everybody.
Oh, you haven't sent anything yet, so nobody knows.
No, not yet. All the staff, they all communicated this morning, and it went off overwhelmingly well from everything that I've heard so far, but I haven't got that email out yet. Does this group want to hear the announcements?
Of course. We get the exclusive.
Yes, we do.
Awesome, awesome. So there's a couple of moves that we're making. And to start off with, so Jake Launder, who's currently the principal at Hillsdale, will actually be going to Greenfield next year. And Julie McClintock, who's currently the principal at Greenfield, is actually going to be going to WD Hall next year. And so we've hired, and then we have Carmen Restrepo, who's currently up at Crest, is actually going to be moving into a special assignment. So we have 4 new administrators that the board took action to appoint last night. We have David Geck going to Emerald. He's currently the assistant principal at Conn Valley Middle School. Leslie Aesop, who's currently the interim principal at Lexington, is going to remain at Lexington as principal. And Roberta Ewing, the assistant principal at Hillsdale, will be filling Jake's big shoes over at Hillsdale. And Sabrina Copeland, who's currently the AP at Magnolia, will be moving up to Crest. So we're super excited about that. Yay! Yeah. It was really fun for all of them to get to make the new announcements. I think everybody's super excited about some new fun opportunities to meet and interact and do some great new things at new places. So that's my big announcement for the day.
Thank you. How about what's going on at your schools or departments? Let's hear some news. Stephanie, you were at the board meeting last night.
Yep, I was. That was fun.
You want to expand on that?
Oh, I drove in and I couldn't figure out why there were all these people with signs. I was just so taken back, first of all. And then when I got in there, I was like, oh. And so a lot of parents from a particular school were very vocal about wanting to return to normal. And they were very loud and very obnoxious. And I couldn't hear anything that was going on because they were so obnoxious.
Wow.
But it was interesting to hear their point of view when everything that I've seen from our families and stuff is kind of the opposite. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
So I have to hand it to you for just saying, okay, we'll postpone it for a day. Because I think that really appeased the people that were out there. They at least thought, okay, good. But, you know, I don't know that it makes any difference.
Well, they think they're going to change the plan, which the plan's not going to change. It's just delaying for a day and a half, which gives us a day and a half less time to prepare for summer work. But
I agree. I hear you.
Yeah. So with that, what else do we want to talk about? We have 15 minutes. Let's get into.
Hey, I have a question, and maybe this is because I know that at ANZA, Maria wants to do the summer program. So with that, I think it's really important to have like the office manager there, just because as parents ask questions, I feel like the more I see and the more I experience, the better I can answer their questions. So would that be an option?
Yeah, so we'll be working out the details with CSEA tomorrow, but that's part of the survey that we're sending out, is to identify what your current site is, what your current work is, what work you're interested in, your availability to work. And so we can get people in the positions really by site, because you're the most familiar with the site, in order to get them staffed for summer school. The survey will have a pretty short turnaround, but they're pretty easy questions to answer. Kind of similar to the way that we did it when we were returning to work.
Yeah.
And we'll be processing that on our end here in our office as quickly as we possibly can and get people in positions.
Okay. And then when's the parent one going out? I mean, I know that they're just working on it and stuff, but do we have any idea?
Hopefully today.
Oh, wow.
We're trying to get some translations done so that all families can contribute, but really it's asking the parents, you know, what your options are. Do you want 100% on campus, 100% homeschool, 100 or 50-50?
Yeah.
And then what time do you need to drop your child off? 6:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 8:30. Lots of questions so that you can make schedules and plan classes and all the stuff that we typically do in April and May. But we're trying to get it done. And then Kathy and Christina politely raised their hands. Kathy, why don't you go first?
Thank you. I wanted to ask if there's any idea of what the role of librarians will be for the next upcoming school year. I know I've read something and we were talking about it. There was something about reading interventions. Maybe that was not the word, or reading instruction. So we weren't sure if that applied to us or what's, I know there's a lot of moving parts right now. Not everything's, settled yet, but I wanted to know if there's any general idea of how our roles would look.
That's a great question. One of the things that will be an opportunity or a challenge for us is children will be receiving, we think, a backpack that will have crayons and blunt scissors and all the things that our teachers want them to have, both while they're at home and school. So they'll be taking them back and forth. We're not really able to share and touch things that will be like touched by many people. So like classroom libraries probably will not be in operation. But one of the things that I think that you can help with, Kathy, is the organization and curation of materials that would be consumable, that kids could use in like STEM art projects and mystery science, and facilitating tools and materials that they won't be sharing with others, because we're going to need to have constant things for them to do. And I think that your role would be perfect with that. What do you think?
No, I love that. I love crafting and doing all types of things like that. The first thing comes to mind is, okay, materials. But I know I can go into the supply rooms and get some stuff. I immediately thought, oh, okay, makerspace. I was trying to get a makerspace going, but there's, I just did it with things that I had at hand, right? It was just a basic, not a design or anything yet. I was just using crayons and paper and just like a regular library, you know, whatever I could get my hands on. But I like it. So more like a packet or type of disposable thing that, not disposable, but something that's not circulating.
It's just an idea, because we will be able to have kids back at school, but we need things for them to do that are not things that they'll share or pass, so that we'll need help for sure.
Okay. I'll think
Christina?
about that. Yes, that's a great idea. I just don't know how it will look like. I know the virus doesn't really live more than 24 hours on paper, I think I was reading. So even if there was some circulation about books, they would be fine by the time they bring it back and not touch it, maybe for a day. I know there's a lot of questions about how to do that effectively. I know we wouldn't be able to receive them in the classroom, but I know we were talking with Karen Minshew to see how would that look like, and with Sue Naish. And we were thinking of doing tubs, perhaps, for each classroom. So there's not as much handling with everyone, and we just leave a tub in a classroom, or the teacher can come and pick up the tub, and then the kid can just choose the first book and not be, looking for it. Or so we were thinking on ways where there's the least contact, but they can still have access to books. That was one of the ways that we thought about it, but I don't know if there was other guidelines. I've been looking for how other schools are doing it, but they're not doing anything. So it's hard to find information on that still.
Right. You'll be first.
Yay. Of course. Yeah. Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you.
And I had another question. What do you have in your red Solo cup there?
It's Pepsi.
Oh, that's
Okay. Okay.
interrupting.
Thank you.
Just checking.
Christina?
I actually had a few questions. The first one is, are we going to have PROACT over the summer? And if we have to use PROACT when we go back onto campus, how are we going to manage restraints with social distancing? We have one student in particular on our campus who requires, unfortunately, on average 2 restraints a week. And he also has a tendency to spit on whoever's trying to do that, or just spit in general. So will there be PROACT, and how can we manage restraints under our current guidelines?
I can help you with that.
Okay.
Sorry, David, were you?
No, yeah.
So we met with special education not too long ago to discuss not only PROACT, but CPR certifications. And, PROACT it's a pretty large training. It's a couple of days that take place. We'll only be offering it to those that are expiring or that it's required for their position. So anyone who may not need it currently right now won't be able to take the certification, because we want to limit the number of people that we have coming into the district office. So there's special education's coming out with language and a priority. We're kind of sending a priority list to those that need to have it, again, based on their job description, which right now at this point, it's the majority is behavior intervention specialist. And then identifying the CECA classrooms that need to have those certifications. So we're working on that for this summer. And then also we're thinking of doing it mostly online and then just coming in for the hands-on portion. The same with CPR, doing a 6-hour CPR class that's done online and then coming in for the certification, which is something that a lot of vendors have already been providing. So I know that that's probably the best way to move forward with those certifications. Again, only for those that are required for their position.
Okay. And I kind of understand that it's impossible to avoid touching the student if we have to use a restraint. It's just, and I know that in PROACT, we do it to the safest possible capacity. One of our CECAs who works with this specific student asked if the district would be providing PPE for them, i.e. a gown or like a face shield, if it would be provided by them or by the school or by the district. And I've also heard that some schools aren't even allowing people to bring in their own reusable masks. Same thing like with the reusable bags in grocery stores, you don't know what it could possibly be carrying. So.
I do believe that special education will be working on specific needs that CECAs might have. I do know that that was brought up a little bit this weekend regarding PPE and you know the inevitable with working with our special education students. So I do know that they're probably going to be working on a plan and providing more direction to our special education classrooms. More information on that. I'll make sure to follow up with Janine. I don't think she's on this call, but I'll make sure to follow up on that for you.
Yeah, Christina, that's a good consideration. We are going to have students that may have some certainly higher level needs, and therefore some higher level needs for some different type of equipment for people working with them. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Thank you.
Add it to our list of considerations.
I know, it's never ending. And my final one comes from our person who works in ALC, and also our office manager asked, what happens when students don't comply with social distancing and masks? Would they be forced to do distance learning only? And will we be able to accommodate students who need to be removed from our classrooms via ALC or something similar, being that every single class space is being used for an actual classroom?
That I don't know yet. That's a really good question, Christina. Okay. Willful defiance of safety, I think, is going to be a severe offense. But in terms of not wanting to wear masks, the current language says should. So the state said students should be encouraged, which means that it will not be mandatory. So if children show up and they don't want to, my interpretation at this point is that they don't have to. But those are things that we're working through right now, because I don't know, Mark, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, I guess we'll just have to gauge the pulse. I think if it's, our staff should protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're not going to be able to force the kids to keep it on. So the best protection is protect yourself.
It's really interesting because the rules for childcare, because childcare is not public, it's like it's a contained group. the children don't have to wear face coverings because they're with the same group and they're not crossing other groups. Public school is a lot different from that, in that it is open to the public and many people are coming on campus. So looking at the grocery stores and the other industries, like let's say go to a restaurant now, they're open. You have to wear your face covering until you sit down, right? If you go to a restaurant, we may think about something like that in terms of when kids are moving, when they come on campus, when they leave campus, or when they're moving between classrooms. And we may have everybody just wear face coverings, and then when you're settled to do your work or you're learning or eating, that seems to be reasonable. It seems to be something that parents would be amenable to because it's what's happening everywhere else. But those are the things that we're dealing with at our boardroom right now. Parents saying, I'm not going to have my kids wear it. It's like, well, okay. You know, it's challenging right now trying to put safety first, but also accommodate parents' feelings.
In the words of Michelle, we're all rocking it though. I mean, we have been thrown every wrench and obstacle in the way, and we're getting through it. We're making progress, right?
Sienna, yes, we are.
Absolutely.
You're going to be your spokesperson, Michelle.
You know, I said we are going to rock this, and now it's just we are rocking it.
Oh, and
Absolutely.
it's rocky.
And not like the kind of Doobie Brothers rocking it. I'm talking like the Rolling Stones rocking it. For sure. I was actually sending a message to everybody. I'm so sorry. It was great to see everybody. I have to run because I'm going to go meet with one of our brand new teachers, and it's on a Zoom call, and I can't be on both at the same time. So thank you so much, everybody. You don't finish your meeting, but I got to go.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, Jennifer, you want to come in?
Hi, thank you. Yes. Wow, you guys have a tough job right now. So good job holding the fort down last night. I wanted to ask, so going forward with the new hours that are proposed for the new programs for next year, just I know some people are asking how would you see that working for office staff? I mean, obviously we won't be there 12 hours, although some days I feel like we are, but have you kind of laid out how that might work for office staff and how you would break that up and run that?
That's really why we want to use the summer to simulate school in the fall, because we don't know, we haven't done it this way before. So our plan during the summer is to have the same office hours, 6:30 to 6, and then the principals and the site leads for EDP will work together managing, and then we need to learn from you what would make sense in terms of, well, when should we have someone start in the office and till how long? And
Correct.
then
Right.
who would take those? So really summer's an opportunity to try.
Right. Okay.
So we're going to overstaff during the summer because we'll start off with more than we need and then try to figure out what's the sweet spot in terms of making it
So
work.
it could be something similar to staggered office staff, being able to handle the later hours versus the morning hours. Okay.
Right.
And just the thoughts. I have high school kids, so they're, if sports comes back, who knows if sports if it's coming back, but I'd love to be at their football games on Friday nights at 5. So, just as my own question, but I know others are asking the same question, and I just wasn't sure how you guys we're playing that out in your mind. So,
yeah. So summer's a chance to learn. We don't have that figured out for next year yet. We hope to by the end of the summer.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
And we'll be asking that in that survey as well, like the hours of that you're available to come in, kind of staggered them a little bit. Hours in the summer could be 4 to 8 hours. It just depends. We don't want to not have a classified employee not get the opportunity to work if they're only available to work certain hours or certain weeks in the summer. And that's what kind of Michelle was stating there. So that'll be in the survey.
Okay. And do we know what school sites will be, would my site be up for that, or we just don't know that yet? You're not sure which sites will be for the summer program?
The survey will tell us who's available, but we'd like to have all sites open so that we can provide something for all of our students, regardless of what school they go to.
And
thank you.
Could I kind of piggyback on that? because I asked, I'm hiding from Flying Hills, by the way. I asked our principal about needing, are we going to need office staff? And his answer was, well, they were following the model at Chase. And Chase didn't, the office staff didn't really have a lot to do with what was happening in the daycares. So, I mean, I was open if he wanted to see for me to come in, and it was like, I think that there was maybe some confusion there, and maybe it wasn't clear that, yes, we might want to also try to see how office staff can help the people that are there, because honestly, like, if parents are calling, someone needs to be answering the phone if their kids are there, other than maybe giving them a direct line to the classroom. But I don't, we're not set up for that. So
Yeah, Heidi, the program at Chase is only childcare. We set it up just for that only. What we plan to do in the summer will be more simulating school. And so
Okay.
there will be a need to have office staff, and we want it to look as much like school as possible, is what everyone said at our planning summit.
Okay.
Okay, we have Kristen with her hand up.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi. I'm going to be throwing my voice because my speaker on my computer doesn't work. So I'm on here twice, on my phone and in person. I figured that out. So I think everyone's kind of asked everything that my staff was asking about. The clarification on summer school with the enrichment being separate from the actual summer program, and the summer program staying on Chase, and then all the schools individually having that enrichment, the 2-week classes, right? I think there's 3 2-week sessions. So I think they were just making sure that we had that opportunity that you could do the 1, 2, or 3 different sessions. The SECAs were wanting to know about that, that it is in fact different than the program that Penny and Prudence run, I think. But I think that's the case, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
The Chase program will end as it is, and then Chase will have a summer program just like everybody else. We want to have all of our schools simulating school. What we need is student interest and then staff availability, so that we can only provide for what we have staff to do. And the other thing is child nutrition typically shuts down a period to do some deep cleaning and some restocking, and we need to work out with Mark on what he needs for his department to reset and be prepared. And so we haven't figured that out yet either. Holly, do you know anything that we don't know?
Okay, hi. I do not have any dates on this, because that's kind of the first I've heard that we're going to shut down, and we love that idea. But so we know we're going through June 30th, and then what kind of shutdown dates were you having in mind?
Well, Mark
school
just
starts in August, or what?
Mark sent us an email saying, hey, we need to do this. We typically do this during this period, and it conflicts currently with the dates that we had planned. So we're working with him to figure out how we can allow you to do the reset, but also continue service, maybe using our middle schools or our sites.
Right. Mark is going to have to work out that with you. He hasn't discussed it with the rest of the front office yet.
Okay.
David, I spoke with Mark today on Michelle's behalf, so Michelle will have more information for you.
Great.
So last week when they were talking about how we'd already shut down the applications for the actual summer program, and that's going to stay the same, and then the enrichment is separate. So is that not the same anymore because everyone will be on their own campus then?
Yeah, we're thinking our survey will override the previous surveys that were sent out to EDP staff and to childcare staff. We'll make sure to clarify that when we send out the surveys. I know you probably filled this out previously about summer work interest, but we're sending you one more with all these changes. So keep that in mind for your staff to know. Is our newest survey will probably come first after all of the previous surveys that were sent out. I think 2 weeks ago, ESY or Extended Day Program sent out their surveys.
Okay, because like I said, last week we were talking about how you can't apply for that summer position anymore because they were already filled. So we're negating that each individual campus then.
Right. This will be a new survey for new summer work opportunities.
Okay. And then we also had a suggestion about lunchtime and having the acrylic dividers at the tables. They do it at some bars, and I don't know that personally, but they do. But just for like splashy sakes, I mean, you know, maybe they can be out on the lunch tables if there's an acrylic divider like straight down the middle, and then sort of like little cubbies in between, to at least have their food in between that area. I know, you know, our kids are, I mean, certainly our kids are a little bit sloppy, but when you eat, you sort of lean over, and maybe they could be in that little sort of cubby area, so that at least they can get outside and get on the tables, and those can be sprayed down and cleaned in between, and we could rotate which tables we use or whatever. So that was another suggestion that some people were talking about.
Thank you. Christina, you want to ask your question out loud and then?
Sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah, you have a question in the chat. You know?
Oh, yeah, it was basically answered. Is the
Okay.
summer program different from ESY? And then it was answered in the discussion.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, we're 10 minutes over. Is there anything else that we can talk about before we say goodbye? Dawn, go ahead.
I was curious about reopening the DO for staff and also to the public. A lot of talk about reopening the schools. I know everyone's successfully working remotely, and we've got some staff coming in on certain days, etc. But are you guys also planning to reopen the DO back to normal? And if so, are there going to be, are we going to be lenient on working with other parents' schedules? Like my kid's school district hasn't even sent out a plan for reopening schools, but I've heard talk of doing the 2 days on, 2 days off, and different start times. Are we going to have flexibility with our start times once the DO does reopen?
What do you want the answer to be?
I would love flexibility to be able to get the kids to school depending on whatever their schedule is and still be able to work in the office. But whatever needs to be done is what we'll get done. But I'm kind of just curious if you guys have talked about that.
Well, I like that idea because we've learned that flexibility, that's the one thing that we like about this time is we can flex. So maybe that's something we continue.
Yeah.
I don't think we've determined that yet. Mark, have we discussed that yet?
No.
But it makes sense. Maritza,
Yeah.
what do you think? Is that possible?
I think it would be depending on what business as usual will look like coming the next coming summer. I mean, you can always transfer your kids to our district, Dawn, and
yes,
I know.
get childcare for your kids. I know you talked about that before, but maybe now's the perfect opportunity to do so.
It actually might be a really good time to do so.
But I think it probably would go through a negotiation process.
Okay.
It would, but isn't that the information that's supposed to be going out in the survey anyways?
The information for the summer work survey is primarily for those that are not scheduled to work in the summer.
Yeah, because at the district office, we're all still working full time.
Right.
And that's a big part of it too. We need to know what to do with our 12-month people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that's going to be a discussion for you guys tomorrow, Mark.
Okay.
Probably.
Awesome.
I do have another question, suggestion for the future. I joined this CAC meeting, right? And I haven't been able to attend because of babysitting issues. So I love that it's online now, that it's through Zoom meetings. So I don't know if this could be something that we could keep doing in the future, because I would love to stay part of it and have the flexibility of joining virtually. And that way I know she's right next door and I feel good that I'm home and I feel good that I still get to be here with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's something that's whenever, when everything, and if everything goes back to normal,
Yeah.
we could keep it available maybe for those of us that can't.
I think same with the
go.
board meetings too. It's nice to have the option to attend in person or via Zoom.
I think it's certainly possible.
Mhm.
These meetings especially. But yeah, we have more attendance. We had 550 people at the board meeting last night.
Wow.
No.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, sorry.
Was that really a good thing though?
Maybe just for us then.
Any last question? Go for it, and then we'll close the meeting.
Clarification on the, because I know the CDC, like you were saying, that it's sort of a suggestion. So is it going to be site specific? Like the principal is going to have control over what's okay and what's not okay on your own campus? Like that's not going to be blanketed over the whole district, is it? Is that going to be site specific based on what you decide as a site? Or is that going to be district wide, whatever decision we make?
Which part?
On the requirement for masks of staff and students and that kind of thing.
I think that's going to have to be a district-wide.
Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly. It can't be site specific.
Yeah.
I'd like to add one more comment, since you guys are all interested in attending these virtually. We've been offering, or we've been now having our personnel commission meetings virtually as well. So you're more than welcome to join us in on those. We had 38 attend last month, and typically in those meetings there's no more than 4 people attending.
Wow.
So I do invite you to the personnel commission meetings as well. I've started sending those out to the world, so you'll see the emails and the announcements come out for those. So we'd love to hear from you then as well.
All right. Oh, Heidi, you want to ask your last question?
Yeah, I was just thinking since, for example, my son attends Rancho, but I work at Flying Hills, and since he's very, very interested in going to have any connection with any child at this point. So if I was to work during the summer, would that be something that we could do as a staff, like just have our children with us at our site to try the program out? Because since it's not traditional school, it's more set up as I know we're trying to get ready for school, but it's not a traditional program. Would that be something that we could do?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. And then when you fill out the parent survey for what you want your students to experience during the summer, employees are the first priority in terms of placement and care. So yeah, it makes sense. That way you don't have to drive and pick him up after school. He's right there.
Right. No, and if he was a performing arts student, he would be right there, but he's right where he needs to be with all the STEAM going on at Rancho. And I have to say also, commenting on the suggestion before me, that it's been super nice to be able to have the flexibility to enroll at home. I'm enrolling while my children are doing their homework, and the work is getting done, and I'm not, like Jen was saying, especially during enrollment, there are days that we're there 10, 11 hours, and it's time away from our families. So at least, keeping that flexibility would mean so much to all of us.
Thank you for that. Okay. How about some closing words, Mark? Give us some encouragement as we say goodbye. Unmute.
Mark, we can't hear you.
I think we're really going to make this work, and I think we're going to have a whole lot more work for our classified people. And for those who want opportunity, there's going to be plenty. So, I mean, we're in a growth mode for our bargaining unit in this pre-post COVID era. So
But if you want to take a break, have a vacation too. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Bye.